Okay, folks, I want to just go over some things with you real quickly. A lot of people are having similar problems, and so I want to go through all of your projects individually. I won't be able to spend a lot of time on any one of them, but I can certainly always help you one on one if you need it. So, looking at this first project, it's really a beautiful image. It's going to make a great ad of some sort, but I only see a single layer in here. I'm going to assume that your Photoshop file has multiple layers in it, although I just can't really tell you. It looks like maybe this has been cut out and healed. I just can't tell. Now, the one thing I can see in this image is how the background looks. So yes, it does look like you have done some stuff here. But notice how fuzzy this all is here, as if the clouds were low. One of the tools I didn't talk to you about is the clone stamp tool. And I want to show you how the clone stamp tool works real quick. Let me make that brush smaller. I'm using the bracket key to do that. And I'm going to make sure that the hardness for the brush is set to 0. And I'm just going to hit the enter key to get rid of that dialog. And I think maybe I'll even make the brush a little smaller here. And what I'd like for you to try is to hold the Alt or Option key and click right on top of the line somewhere in here. Maybe I'm just going to say maybe right in there. And now you notice how the cursor the cursor is going to have a little piece of this image that sort of follows you around. I want you to just kind of line that up over one of these little smoky areas and just paint across in little dabs. And you'll see that that cleans up really nicely. And don't go too far, but then you can go back in here again, and let's go ahead and select again over here somewhere, maybe a slightly different area. And same thing again, we're just going to paint across. I know this is not going to line up perfectly, but it's going to be okay. Now realize you don't have your foreground and background are not separated here, but you can see how nicely that cleans up that area. You got the same thing going on down in this area. You'll have to clean this up. So again, Alt or Option, click right on top of the line in here somewhere, and then just make sure you're lining up the lines for this, and you can paint across, and that will fix the lines. You see how much nicer that looks? You can do the same thing over here on this side. By the way, to move around in this image, I'm holding down the space bar so I can do that. So again, holding Alt or Option if you're on a Mac, you can click anywhere in here and start to paint that area in. Now I got to be careful here because I'll start to pick up areas of the background that I want to get. So maybe I'll go to a smaller brush here, paint across. Okay, so that's that. Nice job otherwise. I think this is a really cool looking image. Let's see what's next. This one, let's open it up. And so we got a problem here in this one. There's nothing in the foreground layer, and everything is in the background. So it hasn't been cut out and the background hasn't been healed. Now, I'm going to suggest to you here that this one's it's just too hard. This image is not going to work well for you. Remember, you have to heal the background and make it look like there was never never a foreground in the image. That means you're going to have to recreate all of these people, and you can't do that. You don't have any material to copy and paste in for that. And there's so much detail in the background. You've got a lot of the floor showing in here, a lot of the ground plane. This is just the wrong image to use. I'm going to suggest you go back and find a different image. It's just too hard. No matter how hard you work on this, you're not going to have a good result, I'm afraid. Okay, let's keep going. This was an interesting one. Edgar's. I can tell this one's been cut out. Although, even though I only have a single layer here, and we'll talk about how to deal with that too. Um, I can't tell the well, I can tell that the hair just didn't get selected very well in large portions of this. You see how nice it is around here. This looks great. And I'm assuming all that got cut out nicely. But you can see over here how kind of jaggy this is. I'll go ahead and go through just a little bit of this process. I can't spend a lot of time on it, but let's see here. Let's make a brush nice and big. And I'll just make a quick selection, and we need to make a copy of the background layer. Turn that one off, and we're going to go into select and mask, and we can see how our selection looks here. I want you, if you didn't do this in the first time, I want you to use the Refine Edge brush tool, and I want you to go around the the hair area to see if you can pick up some of the detail here. I can't do it for you here because all the detail's gone now for this. So you may need to go back, kind of go back to the drawing board on this and see if you can get a better selection in the foreground. Now, the fact that this did not have multiple layers, that I'm hoping that in your Photoshop file you actually do have multiple layers, but my guess is I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer here. I'm going to go ahead and say new layer only because, well, no, I don't want to confuse you. Let's keep that at selection. Okay, output to selection. And we'll cut. And let's see where, come on, let's cut to Command X or Control X. Come on, why are you not cutting? All right, well, edit, cut. Let's try that way. There we go. And we're going to paste into a new layer. So we're going to hold Control and Shift and V to paste it in place. So we've got multiple layers going on in here, and you go through the process of healing the background, doing all that stuff like I did before. When you output to a PDF file, save a copy. Got to do save a copy. This is something new in Photoshop for 2021. And we'll choose Photoshop PDF and make sure layers is chosen. I think that is the problem. I think that's what's happening to you here, why it was coming through as a single layer. Okay, gonna jump out of this one, go to the next one. Sorry guys, I can't spend a tremendous amount of time on these. This guy, I don't remember what student it is. It doesn't have a name associated with it on here. Sorry. Look at the size here in this image. 200, 280 pixels wide. Way too small to be used for this project. Remember, you need to have 2,500 or more pixels. 4,000 is great if you've got that many pixels in width. So yeah, give that one another go. And this one is looking really good. Now I did want to show you something here. I'm going to add a layer, and I'm going to hold Alt or Option and press the Delete key to fill with the foreground layer right here. The foreground is black. And let's just go in and look at these edges. They're kind of jaggy and funky looking. Now, without making you go back and redoing this all together, I want to show you the trick that you can do. So we're going to go to the fish layer. I'm going to hold the Control or Command key and click right on top of the thumbnail, and that'll select this. So let's go ahead. We're going to need to choose one of the selection tools. One of these three here. It doesn't matter which one. And when we do that, we'll see Select and Mask. So I'm going to click on that. And what I want you to do here is add some smoothing. I played around 2 or 3 works pretty good. And also here, we're going to shift the edge in a little bit since we've already got something that's been cut out. It doesn't help us unless we kind of contract the edge a little bit. So I'm going to go to -20 here. It says it shows it in a percentage, but there's no way this is -20%. But anyway, that's what it is. And we're going to output to, in this case, we're going to go output to new layer. Okay. And I'm going to select, I'm going to click OK. Let's go ahead and decontaminate colors just because. We'll click OK here. And let's compare the old and the new layer. Shoot, I ended up with a layer mask here. I must have clicked the wrong thing. We're going to delete the layer mask. I'm just going to drag this to the trash. It doesn't hurt anything to have it, but we're going to just go ahead and delete it. Now let's compare the old layer to the new layer. I want you to look at the edges. Look at the smoothness here versus here. See how much jaggier it is? Okay, so that's kind of a quickie way that you can repair this image just by using smoothing and contracting the edge a little bit. All right, let's see, where are we here? Adam's image. I know, Adam, you were having trouble. Whoops. I'm assuming that you've cut this out. The edges look kind of extra clean, so it appears that you have. Oh yeah, I can see here in the background, since there's some repair that needs to be done in this background, that you have done this. I'm assuming, Adam, that the problem is with your PDF, that you just did not have that layers checkbox checked when you exported it. Now you've got a lot of work to do in this background. Because you reduced his size, we're going to see an extra lot of that background, which means this has all got to be repaired really nicely. Now I can't go into how to do this because I don't have layers. If you need some one-on-one help, let me know. We can do a session and get you fixed up. I think all the material is here to repair this image. A lot of it's white and there's some buildings back here. There's some ways that you can make this look perfect. Perfect. Let me help you with this, and I'll show you how. If you want to, you can send me your Photoshop file. Please don't email me the file itself, but please upload it to your cloud storage and send me a link in your cloud storage so that I can download it. You won't be able to send a 200 meg file over email. Okay, thank you, Adam. And we're going to go next to Cole's. And Cole, again, we got a single layer right here. This is such a clean image. You should have been able to really have a super clean cutout and easily heal the background in this image. I'm a little concerned with what you're going to do with this to create an ad or an in frame or some kind of message, but I'm sure you've got something good planned for this. Again, I need for you to export the PDF with that layers box chosen. Okay. Where next? James. James, nice. This looks really good, by the way. The foreground is cut out nicely. There's lots of detail and hair in here. Everything's looking good. So we're not even going to talk about the foreground. Background, I want to show you a little trick here. You can see how we sort of, Content Aware Field did a good job, except with these little lights here, the bokeh in these lights. So let's just go repair those. Let's use the healing brush. Not the spot healing brush, but the healing brush. Okay. And I want you to start with a small brush. We'll need huge brush, maybe. What is that, 60? It'll be different for you because you're going to be using the entire image. And let's pick a good one. How about this guy right here? Hold Alt or Option, click in the middle of one of the good ones, and then just go click on one of the partial ones. And you can do this all the way around. Look how nice that looks. Bump, 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 bump. Up here, that one's sort of funky looking. Once you pick one of these, paint that in, and look how much nicer that looks. So you can just roll around these and replace all of the ones that are partial. Bam, done deal. Nice work on this though, it looks good. Let's see, what else do we got? Sherry, sorry you had so much trouble, Sherry. But let's look at a way that you can kind of fix this. Okay, so in you had this issue of the content aware fill created an extra layer for you, which is wacky. How did that happen? Um, I think I found the answer. I'm going to go ahead and select your background copy layer, and you can see you've got this big selection here. Totally okay. I know that you reduced the size of the flower. And let's go ahead and turn off your copy layer. Let's go to background. In fact, I'm just going to delete this now. Don't need it. And so we're going to fill with that guy. So if we go into Edit, Content Aware Fill, we can simply fill from here, and I hope it doesn't crash. This, for your image, for some reason it crashed on me last time, so oh no, it's gonna crash again, I think. Yep, it crashed. I don't know, something about this image and my computer. Let me go ahead and refire here. I'm gonna pause real quick. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, Sherry, something about your image and content aware fill is crashing Photoshop for me every single time. But I want to show you a little hidden legacy feature in here. And it worked pretty good for me for your background. And that is to go to Edit, Fill, not Content Aware Fill, but Edit, Fill. And hiding in here is another version of Content Aware Fill. This is the old version, the legacy version. It's a one-click solution here. So click OK, and boom, it does the trick. I'm going to deselect, Control or Command D to deselect, and you can see it actually does a pretty good job. Okay, and now some of this stuff is going to have to be repaired, but I don't think that's going to be a big problem. Oh, I lost your foreground layer here. Dang it. Oh well, wanted to talk about that a little bit. Foreground actually looks really good. But what you can do here is I want to introduce you to another tool real quick. I want to use the patch tool a little bit for this, but I want to show you the clone stamp tool also. So first for patch, I'm just going to click on this stem a little bit because the stem needs to be longer. So we're going to click down here towards the bottom, and I'm just going to paint up in kind of little dabs like so. And this will make the stem longer for you. You probably do the same thing over here. So let's look at the way the clone stamp tool works. The clone stamp tool is simply an unsmart version, I guess, of the healing brush tool. The clone stamp tool was around way long before these healing brushes were. So just it works in exactly the same way. You Alt or Option on top of the area that you want to paint in, and you can start painting across, and it will paint that area in. So this is going to allow you to clean up areas like this where you've got these lines of stuff, this multiple sort of looks to everything here. I'm just going to click in a random area here and just kind of start painting in sort of little dabs. Maybe I'll pick, I don't know, that area to go in here. The idea here is just to make it make the problems kind of invisible. And so once the foreground is back in here, hopefully that will look good for you. And again, I'm sorry that you had so much trouble with this, but try, edit, fill, content aware, and give the clone stamp brush a try. Now, since Photoshop crashed, I hope that everybody's taking care of everybody's projects here. Let me look and see. Um, oh, I don't remember now. Let's see. Did we do James? Yes, we did James. Did we do Cole? Sorry, guys, I just don't remember what I've done and what I haven't done. It looks like I've done all these. Okay. So if I haven't done yours, my apologies to you. Did we do Ale? Did we do yours? Let's see. Ah, Ale. We need to do yours. So let me go ahead and open this here. Ale, you've got a nice looking file here. I just wanted to point out the background looks wonderful. The foreground is nicely cut out. We got lots of detail in the hair. Everything's really good here. I will say this image is a little dull looking. Certainly you could use a pop of color. So these layers are separated right now, so we'd have to do them individually. But if you go into image adjustments, try vibrance. Okay, you can just add a bit of vibrance, and that'll bring some color into the background, maybe a little saturation. And you can do this on the foreground layer too. Another way you can do this is in hue saturation. Hue saturation. And you can add some saturation here. And so a combination of saturation and vibrance can probably do the trick. This is a little bit of a low contrast image, and so you might find that a levels adjustment will help you too. I'm going to go to the foreground layer here, go to image, adjustments, levels, and what I'm seeing here is that we just don't have a lot of blacks to work with. So when you go into levels, you may see that there's not a lot of blacks or not a lot of whites in the image. And when you see in levels this histogram bottom out right here, grab the in slider and pull it back. And that's going to bring some contrast back into your image. Now you can also adjust the slider, which is going to work with the midtones. And just giving this a little bit of adjustment on the midtones will give you more detail in the darks or the bright or the dark midtones or the bright midtones. This is also called gamma when we talk about television. So you can do this for the levels adjustment on both layers and bring back some detail like in the clouds and some detail in the darker areas of the image. So give that a try. Okay, and let me go back here. I wanted to get back to the cat. Let's see, which one was the cat image? Now I got to go back and try to find this. Excuse me one second, guys. I'm going to pause real quick till I find it. Hold on. Okay, sorry, Edgar, this is yours. I did want to point out when we are talking about color that you've got a bad white balance here, and so you're going to need to correct for this. Now you can go to image. Now you could do this also in After Effects, but let's talk about how to correct it in Photoshop. Image, adjustments, color balance. This is literally the same thing you're going to do with a different set of controls in After Effects. And you can see how yellow this image is. So we're going to push the yellows towards the blue. These are opposite. Yellow is opposite blue. Magenta is opposite green. Cyan is opposite red. Now, right now we're working with the midtones. We can do the same thing in the shadow area, and that's going to help us to kind of bring back some of those blues and de-emphasize the reds and yellows a little bit. And so play with this until you have a good white balance. Now, ooh, yeah, that's not right. We don't need that. Another thing that you can try, it's the quickie version, and we're really not into quickie versions in this class, but you can try auto color. And yeah, that didn't do too well for us. It just made it sort of go green. So yeah, you're going to have to do this manually. Okay, folks, I think that is everybody. If I missed you, I apologize. And everybody, you are welcome to contact me individually. Let's work together if you had problems. That's what I'm here for. Man, the last thing I want is for you to get frustrated. I want this to be a fun experience for you. So let me help you get the problems worked out. All right, good luck with everything, and pop me an email and let me know if you want to work together.